Good afternoon or evening, everybody. As Denver said, my name is Adam Nankin, but more importantly, I'm joined by three magnificent guys here today. I was lucky enough to work with them on a One Community project in Mirrabooka. I worked alongside Northern City Football Club, and the gentlemen next to me are a small but vital part of not only a great community club, but a great community as a whole. These individuals are going to share their story today. They're going to show how, with the right attitude and the acceptance of everyone, they can really lead a community and create a club where everybody feels like they have value. So let's start off. Gentlemen, I would love to hear your story, how you grew up and life in Mirrabooka.
Thank you, Adam. So I'll go first. As I've already been introduced, my name is Yahya Sheikh Abdi. I grew up in the northern suburbs of Perth, around the Mirrabooka area. Before that, in my early childhood, I spent a few years in Africa. So pretty much I had two perspectives of two different worlds in a way. In Africa, my first few years, I spent a few years on the countryside. So living as a pastoral nomadic community, moving from place to place, coming to a place like Australia, and obviously pursuing a career and education was obviously two different worlds for me. And in a way that gave me a sense of stability and a focus on a lot of things that my peers didn't really sort of look at. But growing up in Mirrabooka area and as a young, to be honest, my memories are fond memories. Obviously, back in those days, there was no social media. So a lot of our friends, my friends and I, all we did was after school, all we looked forward to was going to the park and kicking around. We mainly played basketball and soccer, so just having fun and being outside and just, hanging with your mates was usually what I remember. But as I got older, or I started to look around me and look around the community, what I've noticed was mainly a lack of role models or people that I can look up to that can sort of give me some sort of a guidance or in a way something that I can aspire to become. And having said that, there's two sort of people that I remember as a young person that gave me a lot of things that that drives me in a way. One was obviously my late uncle who passed away in 2001. And what he instilled in me was obviously a lot of the values that I carry with me, which is obviously, helping people or just making yourself available for people, doing things for the community, giving back, not taking grudges and, hating people because they did you wrong or they said the wrong thing to you, but just overseeing that and just, trying to do your best. And another person was a gentleman by the name of Todd, and pretty much all I remember was one day we were down at the local indoor basketball arena just shooting hoops, and this gentleman approached us and he had a chat with us, and he realized that we were into playing basketball and just as a group, and what he offered was for to help us to train us, which led to us forming a team, a basketball team, which we played in for 2 seasons, and obviously that resonated with me because a stranger who went out of his way just to help young boys that were interested in playing a sport and making a reality for them to actually participate and go play other teams in the city was something that I remembered. Giving his time and energy. I remember even sometimes even transporting the 5 or the 6 of us to the games as far as from to the southern suburbs and stuff like that. So there is a lot of things, and obviously that's what I saw. And as I got older, what I wanted to do was for younger people in the community to at least give them some sort of an example, a role model, or to even show them, or to just plant that seed in their mind to make them realize that, look, you are capable of achieving great things, whether it's a personal achievement or whether it's actually for the wider community. So I'm thinking of the time, and I think I'll just end with that.
My name is Abdul, short for Abdul Kidia. Just like Yahya said, my story is a bit similar to his as well. You know, ordinary bloke like many other Australians. Grew up in the northern suburbs as well, in Mirrabooka. Played a lot of backyard sports, and I think I've told Adam before as well. And those sports are like cricket in the backyard, and my dad would buy so many tennis balls, but after a while he'll be like, that's it, no more, because they'd go over the neighbours. So we had a lemon tree at the backyard, and Mum would get annoyed at this, but we'd get these lemons and start playing with the lemons as a ball. And they would start going over to the neighbours. So these neighbours refused to give us the balls, but they would give us back the lemons, you know, chuck them back over. So we thought, you know, why not use this as a ball? And, you know, growing up, sport has been a big part of my life. Everything I've done was always around sport. And, you know, it's not a good example, but, you know, at times, you know, I'd wag school, but not for getting up to mischief, but just to go play sport, you know, go shoot hoops and all. And, you know, Dad would sit me down and he goes, why would you do all these things? And, you know, and it's always been about sport for me. And that's one of the reasons why we've started this club, you know, the passion and love that we've got for the sport. Why not give it back to the community? So, yeah, I'll pass it over to Dini now. And
Hi, my name is Dini. Everything Yahya and Abdul Qadir said, especially everything Yahya said, I can relate to. As a young kid back in Africa, I mean, I came here when I was 7 years old. And before that, I always had a ball in my hand or made, put socks together and made a soccer ball out of it. So always kicking around and going over to the local kids and always wanted a challenge. I was very active when I was young, very mischief, not in a negative way, but I needed to get rid of my energy somehow, and I really enjoyed sports. So I enjoyed all sorts of sports, but especially soccer, which is a world game. I think football, but soccer in Australia. I also follow AFL at Berwick for Geelong Football Club. I also support NBL. I think it's Melbourne Tigers. I support rugby team, NRL. I support the Broncos. In the Origin, I support the Maroons. I have a basketball team, which is Chicago Bulls. I was a big fan of Michael Jordan. So I follow all sorts of codes of sports. And I've always played soccer. What I wanted was something that could unite people in my community or in the local area, and I was very motivated, and I wanted to give back my skill and give that opportunity to the kids. So that's about it.
I think keep the microphone, Dini.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you now, I know you all have your own views on it, but I guess I want to know from you where the idea to start a soccer club came from.
The idea of starting a soccer club started with because we played backyard football and we played club football, like mainstream sports, but it was not very inclusive. Like sometimes when I was very young, we lived in Garawin, and the older guys in my community, they would not allow us to play. They would say, "Oh, go get the ball," or "That's, you know, go," and you'd be very lucky if you went goalkeeper. That is your day. But I felt that everyone should have the opportunity to feel like they belong. You know, as I got older, they started accepting me, but they didn't want me to hold the ball for too long, so I'd have to release, otherwise I'd get yelled at. So I thought, there's a better way of doing this. You know, like. And there's a lot of communities that exist, like The problem is some communities are based on ethnicity or organization, and it limits others. So what we wanted is something that inclusive to everyone, you know. And a lot of parents were hesitant. You know, we have a lot of kids from all sorts of background, all sorts of walks of life as members of our club. But there was a lot of parents that had this perception of like local clubs, and so we wanted to break the barriers and give that opportunity to kids that they don't have. I participated in many clubs in Perth, but the problem is there was no support. So everyone would be like, go and study, go and do your homework. But I want to enjoy myself. I might have an ability that is unique, but a lot of the parents, they thought, no, the only way is education, you know. But I wanted to give the opportunity of being able to play sports where you can make friends and be social and feel like you belong, as well as studying. I thought I can do both. But yeah, a lot of the kids did not have that opportunity, and I thought, why not give them that opportunity?
Thank you, Denny. Abdul, I'm going to ask you the next one. I'd really like to know how, and you've mentioned from experience, but from your point of view, I wanted to know how you got the buy-in from your community, firstly to consult them to know that a soccer club is what they needed, but also for them to give you your blessing to creating that soccer club.
We used to just play social soccer to begin with out in Herb Graham in Mirrabooka, and you know, it started off with 3-4 people, and then as time goes, you know, you get people watching and they want to be included in the football. So, you know, we're open to that. So as time went on, you got more and more, and then on a field you could only have 11 players per team, and then started going 14 players on a team, 15, and you know, me and Dini and Yahya thought to ourselves, you know, this is something great. You know, the community are getting involved in this every Saturday afternoon, and you know, the neighborhood's just coming out just to watch. Why not start a football club? And I guess we spoke to a few children within the area, asking them if they played for any football club, and some said no, they're not allowed to. And that's it. You know, we asked the parents, you know, would you guys like to be involved in a club? And the first answer we got is like, no, I've got no time for that. I want my child to study. Or if it's just a club where, you know, you guys can look after them, like a childcare center kind of thing. And, you know, it's hard. So we had to break the barriers, you know, and trying to tell them, look, football is not what you guys think it is. It's, you know, a way of getting your child to participate in activities and, you know, integrate with the wider community. You know, and most of these people that we have at the club now were people that probably just saw each other and never said hi. You know, at the local shop, you know, probably just pass each other with their trolleys, you know, head down. And now every Sunday, we've got those two people that have never spoke before, you know, cheering on for the same team, you know. And, oh, you coming down this Sunday? You coming down to Tuesday afternoon training sessions? So it was, you know, it took us time, and we got open day going on. And, you know, like I said in the past, we had the open day going on. We didn't expect to have such numbers turn out. You know, me and Dini looked at ourselves. Yeah, he was aware at the time. We looked at ourselves. No one's coming, you know. That's it, you know. And it was from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then 11 o'clock comes and we get a few kids coming. And we were actually ready to pack up and go because we had all the bouncy castles and everything ready, you know, for the open day. And we had this great lady, you know, she helped us out with the club a lot. Debbie, she was helping us out with the registrations. I think it was around 11, 12 o'clock. Oh, this huge number of people start coming out, you know, from the houses, the neighbors, everyone just started coming down. And then me and Dini out there just started to ask people, oh, go register, go register. And that's all we've been doing the whole day, even after the event ended. And then Debbie goes, stop. You guys don't need no more. So we had, I think, over like 180 registrations. And then we looked at each other. What are we going to do?
First open day.
What are we going to do? And we had like limited volunteers. You know, we had like a bunch of people that, you know, decided they'll come and commit just for the day, not to the whole club and to the vision that we've had looked at. So it was a mission, and we are grateful for what's happened, and as you can see on our Sundays, we've got volunteers coming down, and we got people in the surrounding areas coming to have a walk around the park at 8 p.m., 9 p.m., and that's what we wanted, a community. You don't have to be involved within the football side of it, but you coming out, just taking your dogs out for a walk. And it shows that there's a community there now. Once a deserted park once, but now it's a park full of life. So, yeah.
No, that's a brilliant story. What I'd love to ask you about now is, there's a lot of local governments in the room today, I would love to hear your journey from the first day to where you are now, the relationship with your council, and I guess how your journey with the City of Stirling went to the place you are now.
Yeah, okay, sure. So I just want to touch on some of the reasons also why we started the club. Obviously, there are many reasons why we had the idea to start a soccer club, but obviously, what Rob said earlier, the three of us are not geniuses. We're not, some guys that had a lot of experience in sports and running clubs and stuff like that, but we're just like guys that had passion and that felt like the community needed something to bring them together. So pretty much to use sports to, especially give young people to engage them, to develop leadership skills, a lot of the skills that you need for life, at the same time to have some sort of a belonging, something that obviously can bring people together, and at the same time where people are having fun, because if people are not having fun, usually they don't take anything away from it. So that's pretty much some of the ideas why we began with. But when it comes to our So obviously, when it comes to our relationship with the local council, as Abdul said, when we first got the expression of interest of players, and we realized that there was a high demand, we started saying, okay, we look obviously when people were registering, we were focusing on around that area, and we realized that we wanted somewhere central where people can obviously find it easy to get to, driving distance, or where kids actually can sort of maybe even walk down to their home ground. So we found a park which was local and central to the area, which we thought was ideal. But like Abdul said, it wasn't designed for soccer. It wasn't, it didn't have a lot of all the facilities that we needed. So the season started, everything just happened really fast, because from having the idea to, when we started the season, having 12 teams to register and obviously prepare for was a big ask. At that time there was not much budget. We had few plans, but there was not a lot in place. So we realized that from the get-go, our best interest would be to have that strong relationship with the local council. So we started exchanging communication and communicating to them, and from the get-go we also started talking to our local councillor and asking their advice and their input, and obviously letting them know the great work that was happening in that part of the city. And that's something that we started doing. And obviously early on we realized that there's a lot of things that we could be doing that actually the reserve could do with. So we made a list of maybe more than 12 things that were on the list that and then we had a meeting with our local councillor, club development team, park management, the park team from City of Stirling. We had a meeting at the park and we said, look, these are some of the concerns that we're having. This is some of the things that we would like to see the council make it easier, provide for us. And they said, look, there's a long list, and obviously the restraint that they had in terms of budget and all the parks that they have to mention and how big the city is, they said maybe let's prioritize this. And obviously that's what we said. And yep. So one of the priority for us was obviously the reserve. When winter came, the water would just sit, and this caused a lot of headache for us, because some weekends it actually forced us to cancel some of our games, even though we tried our best, to try to rectify that, or make some changes, or spend few hours Saturday afternoon, even Friday afternoons, try to fix all that up, or try to get up to scratch.
And what do the facilities look like now?
So the facility now, obviously, out of our first season, midway through the season, after we realized what was happening, the council was quick to turn around and say, look, we'll invest more, and we'll try to maintain the reserve. So it's actually good for game days, and good for training, which was something positive that came out of it. At the same time, obviously, one of the big projects that the council promised was not last year, but this financial year, which actually started, or will be starting sometime this month, is obviously a facility upgrade, because our change rooms, we didn't have a storage at the facility, and we have portable goals. You have the ones that are affixed to the ground, but then you also have a portable for the mini roos and the lower juniors. So we were storing those portable goals in the change rooms. In our change rooms, we didn't have showers, so now we had a completely a facility upgrade, which will compose of showers in each change room, extra toilets, storage, a function room, a kitchenette. So pretty much, that all came out of it because of, us realizing that, we needed to have that communication, that relationship with the council, and actually make them realize the positive things that this club has brought to the community, and that part of the of the council.
That's fantastic to hear. This is a club that's 2 years old and already getting a facility upgrade. When I spoke with Yaya, one of the things he said before leaving our first meeting is that the goal was to make sure that everyone could belong, and to remember why the club started in the first place. It's not about being individuals in a club, but it's about having a club for all. I'm going to end off with an email that was sent by Wanneroo City Soccer Club to the Northern City Football Club after a under-13 semi-final. Hi, Northern City Football Club. My son plays for Wanneroo City, who your under-13s played yesterday. Firstly, congratulations on your win. Your boys deserved it, as they played a great game and never gave up. But most of all, I wanted to congratulate the team and your supporters on how they acted after the game. After the initial well-deserved celebration, the boys from your team consoled our devastated boys and girls, especially the boy that missed the penalty to give you the win. The display of sportsmanship shown by your boys was fantastic, and the additional support from your parents and coaches was nothing short of amazing. So congratulations on a good win, but an even bigger congratulations for the wonderful young men that you are fostering in your club. We know other teams would not have acted the same as your boys did in that position. Good luck in the grand final, and hopefully we will be down there to support your boys. Thank you.